Do you feel that your relationship, because of your partner's past, feels like a living nightmare? Hi, this is Noemi. I am a retroactive jealousy specialist. So somebody described their relationship as a living nightmare is just incredible, impossible to exist in it. And one thing that came to mind that it is actually like a nightmare in the sense that it is absurd. It distorts our sense of time. It is immensely overwhelming, and there is a sense that there is no control. And of course, most of us cannot control our dreams. Yeah, so we're just in this space of things happening. Like the mind is trying to make sense of the day, and it is them in a most absurd way, and things are just happening without actually there being a narrative, and there is no control. You're just there in this weird world. And yes, retroactive jealousy in many respects is like a nightmare. So it's like a dream because we can't control it, but nightmare because there are these sensations, there are these intrusive thoughts that we perceive as reality and that we try to argue ourselves out of, or we bring into our relationships, and based on that we start doing things. So there are the emotions, and then there are the compulsive activities that we do, and sometimes there are glimpses of a relief, temporary relief, but there's always that fear that it will come back, and indeed it does come back. So yes, one thing to do is actually to conceptualize it, actually to see it as a nightmare, as a as something that is not quite real. And what I'm saying is not the experience. The experience is very real. The fear, the thoughts, the emotions, they are very real, obviously. And the actions that you're taking, the choices that you're making are very real. And they have a clear effect on your well-being and on the well-being of your relationship and the well-being of your partner. But the initial thing, the intrusive thoughts are not. And this is where you want to start. So, first and foremost, there's awareness that something is going on. If you're watching this, you know that something is going on, even though what it's called retroactive jealousy, right? Um, but then there's also this I want to bring back some control. And the way we usually bring it back is the compulsive actions like stalking the partner, or asking a lot of questions, or maybe disconnecting totally and not interacting with our partner, or monitoring their emails and their social media, or even stalking them physically, to kind of going after them. And so these things won't help. If anything, they make things worse from two perspectives. One is that it ruins the trust that you need as a pillar of your relationship. Yeah. It also questions your commitment, the second pillar of your relationship. And it it will then have an impact on you, because unless your value system allows you to do such things, you will probably feel shame and embarrassment about your actions. But in the moment when you are feeling these thoughts, feeling these feelings, and having these thoughts, then you probably don't have, or feel that you don't have, the control. But you do. Um, there are always micro moments when you can choose. When you can choose, it's a simple thing to do, but at the same time, really difficult. Simple, elegant things can be really, really difficult, especially if we have already created a routine of doing things in a certain way. And yes, when I was struggling with anxiety and I had a certain way of thinking, and when I didn't follow it, it felt like I was going mad. And I did that for 3 weeks, and it disappeared. It's a marvelous thing, the brain. But it was really simple. I just didn't engage with certain thoughts. But difficult. It was difficult. And nobody says it's going to be easy if you work on it at a conscious level, especially. If you work, so for instance, I work with clients at the subconscious level, at the unconscious level, kind of bringing it's actually a mixture of both. Then it can happen faster. But even then, there is a period when the brain is kind of rearranging itself and the emotions are rearranging themselves, and there is kind of a roller coaster going on, and then all of a sudden things change. You wake up and it's like you're a different person, and it's very real that you can actually change, you can gain control back. But it's important not to conflate two things: control and false control. When we interact with and we act out our compulsions, that gives you false control, and the result is temporary, short term uh, feeling of relief. Whereas if you solve the issues underneath this nightmare, then you will get a real result, a real solution, which means that you won't need, and if you have a thought, any intrusive thoughts, which you will, we all have them. The question is, do we allow them to then spiral out and go into weird emotions and things, or do we just say, oh, that's a weird thought, and get on with our life? Yeah, so you will always have the thoughts. It's just the way you interact with them that's going to change, and that's what changes the quality of your life. And that's when nightmare becomes just disappears.